Crazy weather continues. Started snowing yesterday when I was heading out to meet up with my buddy Jim to film and record a couple of podcasts. And then the snow kind of tapered off, and then it turned to rain. So it was raining this morning, and now it's back to snow. It's just crazy. So it went above zero, zero Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit for a little bit, and then dropped slightly back down again. It's pretty, but it's sloppy, messy. Anyway, this is one of my challenges. Talked about on that one of the last videos about land, and that you don't need as much as you think you do if you aren't growing livestock, which for most people you won't be raising livestock. And that's going to be very situational. I don't know if I made that point clear enough, that it really depends on where you are geographically and even micro landscape level. Callie, don't do that. Don't do that. Come on. Yeah, so even within a region, in other words. So I'm zone 4 in a area of central Ontario, Canada, that does have agricultural land not close to here, but when you go south, southern Ontario is really good for growing food, and that's where even the indigenous cultures, they congregated more, or they were more productive and had bigger, or not more productive, but they had larger populations down at the in those areas that they could grow food. So limestone based bedrock for one thing, which is a lot more alkaline than the acidic granite and other bedrocks here. Callie, what are you doing? So not only is it worse for acidity for trying to grow crops up here, it's also the soils are way shallower. It was scraped more by the glaciers, and only pockets of soil developed over time, so more bedrock exposed here. Whereas you get to southern Ontario and it's kind of a floodplain, flatter and deeper soil, so much better for growing. And it's just a warmer climate down there too. It's surprising how different it is. If I drive south from here, we'll go right down to like no snow and zone 6, where I'm zone 4 up here. So those are restrictions. The snow load, of course, it's good for adding moisture, but those wild game populations, that's the limiting factor on the size of a population of animals, birds and animals here. Most of the birds, of course, have to migrate from here because they can't access enough food in the winter. Waterfowl, of course, they migrate because everything freezes. All the lakes and rivers freeze. Deer move out of my particular property here because they don't have enough feed and overhead cover to keep them safe, or keep them in calories, enough calories to survive the winter. And also the snow gets so deep that the predators can prey on them, because the predators can typically go on top of the snow and the deer don't. They sink. Moose do well here because they have such long legs, they can navigate the snow, but even they get stressed in a bad winter. Grouse and hares and things like that, same thing. They're all impacted by the depth of the snow and then the length of the winter. So, point being, it's really, really regional, really geographical, and even within each region, you get different types of growing conditions. So California, for example, you could probably easily, well, I know you can, there's even videos on it actually about not only growing enough food for yourself, but even having a market garden on as little as 1/4 of an acre or less. Here, I can grow enough food, and that was my point in that video. I can grow enough fruit and vegetables, grains, seeds, nuts, to provide enough calories in that little 1/4 acre parcel, because I've been improving the soil and really keeping an eye on it and managing it. But if I try to then convert that to meat calories by growing that and then feeding it to livestock, whether it's chickens or pigs or cattle or sheep or goats or whatever it is, you lose in that conversion. You lose calories as you go up the food chain. So my point there, I guess, again, was to grow enough calories first. If you're doing this for security, again, this is all, it's all different levels of homesteading and self-reliance, and different resources that you have, different positions you're in your life financially, and So just tons of different factors. But for me, and if I was starting out, and that's who I'm really talking to, people that are looking for land and think they can't afford to homestead because land's so expensive, you can get something as small as a quarter an acre or half an acre, an acre, grow just fruits and vegetables and grains, mostly fruits and vegetables, get enough calories for yourself, and then maybe you can expand outwards beyond that. I mean, awesome to have more land, great. Like for me, like I said, I can hunt this land, so even though I can't grow crops or have pasture land to raise livestock, I can improve the habitat, this natural habitat. I can help improve it so that the carrying capacity of the land is high enough that there's enough populations of game for me to harvest. So lots of different approaches, lots of ways to skin a cat. So again, just try to keep that in mind, that wherever you are and whatever your goals are, you have to tailor them to your specific situation and location. Don't eat that. Now, one of the best investments you can make once you do have a little bit of land or have access to a little bit of land is seeds. And that's one of the things I think that's always fascinated me about gardening and growing your own food. Take that little bean, one little black bean or whatever bean, put it in the ground and it multiplies. So with very little effort, sun and water, and you get 10 times maybe well, more than that. In the case of a bean, you get way more than what you put in. And if it's a pole bean, vertical bean, that you can train up something, that vertical space is what you're growing in, so your footprint where you're actually growing the plant is tiny. So you can really pack in a lot of food into a small space. But that multiplier is just amazing to me. It's the best investment you can make. And it's your returns within just a few months, short months. Same thing, a potato. I take 50 pounds of potatoes, put those in the ground, and I'm going to get, generally I get 5 or 6 times in the soil that I've got. So say 600 pounds, or 250 to 300 pounds from that 50 pound bag. So that's a pretty good return on any investment. Crazy dog. The way I look at the firewood as well. This to me is money in the bank. Every piece of wood that I put in there buys me a little bit more time, a little bit more security and warmth. So I love seeing a woodshed full of wood. But that's one of the resources, right? So that's one of those trade-offs I talked about. I don't have big land, pasture land to grow or to raise livestock, but I have that wildlife. I have the space that I can grow vegetables, fruits, nuts, berries. Oh, that's fruit. Has some seeds, grains. But I have firewood for energy, for heat and cooking. I have sun for power, for energy. I have the water in 3 forms, which I always, it's kind of a standard recommendation, I would say. Try to have 3 sources of water if you can. I mean, if you were looking for the ideal piece of property that has 2 or 3 sources of water, and good land, good soil, deep soil, not too acidic, not too alkaline, or that's almost impossible. Security, just access to resources, but with some privacy. That's what that's what I have been looking for always. That's what I ended up with for that reason. So that those 3 sources of water for me here is rainwater, surface water, and then well water. If I can drill down, but also I have a spring at the edge of the property, just off the property. So we got lots and lots of water here. Anyway, just wanted to clear that up, or clarify that from the last thing. I wasn't saying that you can't raise livestock, and also if you're building that infrastructure, it's good to do that for future generations. I'm happy to do that. I'm putting a lot of work into building these places by myself for the next generation in a lot of cases, especially when I plant a big tree, a nut tree or an apple tree or other fruit tree. A lot of that's just for the future generations, not something I'm even going to benefit from. But the land improvement too is just going to continue to get better over time. I'm leaving the best of the trees on this property. I'm not cutting them down. I'm just freeing them from diseased trees and competition so that they can be better for the future for other people. So that's my philosophy. So if you have the luxury of being able to do that because you've acquired some resources, then nice to be able to just do that for the future. So setting up the infrastructure, like putting the fences in or barn or whatever it is, so that you can raise livestock. Like I said, not likely that you're going to get a financial payback in your lifetime, but you will be more self-reliant, more secure, and you will have set up your heirs maybe, or descent, whoever ends up on your property in the future. You set them up for prosperity. Anyway, that's it. Back to work. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it.